Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? So the Hawks back in action tonight in Detroit, started their 5-game road trip. No Jaden Ivey for Detroit, coming off a back-to-back. Definitely not the game that I expected. A lot to dive into here. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Leave a like on the video. Help me get to my first 600 subs. I'm trying to get there by the end of October, so if y'all can help me out, I would greatly appreciate it. And let's get right into it. So a lot to unpack for this game. Again, the Pistons just coming off a back-to-back. Jaden Ivey was a late game scratch, so I'm thinking this game should not be close. However, I know the Pistons, man. I know how they play the Hawks. It is usually a battle, and that it was. First quarter started out, Atlanta looked a lot better offensively. Trey was not settling. He was getting to the rack. He was being a lot more aggressive, trying to get to the rim. DeAndre Hunter had a very hot start. I think he started 4 for 4 with 10 points in the first quarter. Trey was getting to the line. They weren't turning the ball over, so that was great. It was great to see. But Cade and Bogdanovic, man, they came out the gate on fire. Bogdanovic was hitting everything, and Cade was just kind of having his way. I mean, when you're a 6'6", 6'7" point guard, there's not too much that a lot of guards can do against you. DeJounte did a lot better job on him in the second half. I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But Cade and Bogdanovic were just getting whatever they wanted. But it's even still, Atlanta was still looking good offensively, not turning the ball over. Even though DeJounte Murray got kind of off to really just the entire game. He just did not shoot the ball well, but he was doing a lot of other things. Slow start overall for him. One thing, man, I gotta point out is I'm just so shocked that Nate stuck with this same, no, you know what? I changed that. I'm not shocked. Nate stuck with this same exact rotation. And it pisses me off that after the game that AJ Griffin had, 8 points in 6 minutes or something like that against Charlotte, and still he just does not get into the game. I do not understand what Justin Holiday gives you. He has been virtually done nothing the last 2 games, especially offensively. He's not a great shooter. He's an okay shooter. He can occasionally knock down an open 3. He's an average defender. He can't create his own shot. He can't play. Obviously, he can't play make. He can't really dribble and get to the rim. I don't understand what Justin Holiday gives you. Aaron Holiday played not extremely well, but Aaron Holiday had a nice bounce back game. The bench did play better overall, I will say that. But even still, I can't believe that AJ Griffin did not get into the game after the game that he had against Charlotte. I thought for sure that was a clear-cut sign to give this kid minutes over Justin Holiday. I don't understand how long it's going to take to know that Justin Holiday has not been productive off of the bench. You need shooting. It's just, I don't understand what more you need to see from this bench unit to know that this is not it. Every single game thus far, when the bench unit comes in, it's been a struggle. And AJ Griffin can provide a lift offensively. Get this kid some minutes. Second half does not start as great for Atlanta offensively. Turning the ball over more, missing shots. They went on like a 3-minute scoring, I think a 3-minute scoring drought. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I can't exactly remember, but they just were not really making shots. It's that simple. They were getting shots, but they just weren't hitting. Turning the ball over more. I think they had 4 or 5 turnovers just in the third quarter alone, as opposed to, I think, 3 in the first half. DeJounte still struggled offensively. And then just like that, Detroit goes up 8, and I'm thinking, man, this is bad. This is bad. You're giving this team momentum at home. It's just not a good look. Atlanta goes back on a run, starts to get, close the gap, obviously. And then there's 2 plays that I want to point out late in the third quarter from Trey. When there was about 2 minutes left in the third quarter, Atlanta just cut the lead back down to 2. It was 82-80. He comes down off of a miss, and immediately just pulls up for 3. I think the shot was blocked. Those are the type of shots that I'm talking about when I say that Trey is settling. That's a bad shot. I don't care how you want to slice it. I get what Trey's trying to do. He's trying to take the lead, get some more momentum, but it's a terrible shot. I don't like it. I know that's how Trey plays, but at some point he's got to change up that type of play style if the Hawks are going to be a winning basketball team. You have more weapons this year. Now, The bench hasn't been great all year, but at some point, you have to change that style of play. Fast forward a little bit to the end of the quarter. It's a tie ball game. There's 13 seconds left. Atlanta inbounds the ball. Now, with 13 seconds, you can do a lot, offensively. Trae immediately comes down, dribbles, isos, tries to pull up for three to close out the quarter. Again, that's a bad shot. Put your head down and try to drive to the rim and draw contact like you've been getting all game. Trae shot 17 free throws. There's no reason why he should have pulled up for three in that situation to try and take the lead going into the fourth quarter when you could have gotten a way better look. The fourth quarter was kind of back and forth the entire quarter, and once Atlanta starters came back into the game, I wouldn't say they took control, but they created a little bit of a cushion. DeJounte Murray did a very nice job on Cade the entire second half. I mean, I think he had 2 blocks on him. Cade only had 4 points in the entire second half, as opposed to when he finished 22 with the first half. He only had 4 points in the second half. But late in the fourth quarter, Bogdanovich, man, this dude was on fire. But John Collins, that block he had at the end of the fourth quarter, I think there was about a minute and a half left when Cade was in transition after John had just turned the ball over, gets back immediately and gets a beautiful chase down block. That was going to cut the lead to 1. Atlanta scores the next possession, goes up 5. That was that was a game changer, an absolute game changer. Again, DeJounte's defense was a big key. Capella played nice defensively. Trae was still settling just a little bit, but he was getting to the free throw line. But overall, the fourth quarter came down to the wire. Bogdanovich was on fire, and they were looking for him. I mean, he had a ridiculous and one when Dre fouled out of the game. Just a bad foul from Dre, and it happens. I think that cut the lead to 1 at that point. And I'm thinking Atlanta's going to sell this game, man. They really are going to fumble and sell this game. Got a couple defensive stops. Sadiq Bey missed 2 huge free throws. Atlanta kept a 3-point lead, and the rest is history, man. They closed out the game, got a couple stops, got a couple buckets, hit a couple free throws. Trae did his job at the end of the game, and we got the dub. Now, this was an ugly win. This was not a win that was one of those, oh, that was a really good win. No, this was an ugly win. A team that was just coming off a back-to-back, you have to do a better job defensively, and you have to do a better job offensively to where you're not going through 3-4 minutes spots where you're not getting a bucket. Again, it's early in the season, so I'm not going to overreact to this. At the end of the day, it's still a win. We are 3-1. There's a couple things I want to point out before I do get into my final takes for this game and takeaways. One thing I noticed that it really bothers me, and it happens often, and I really notice it a lot this game, is whenever DeJounte has the ball, and this isn't on DeJounte, whenever DeJounte has the ball and he's bringing the ball up, I noticed, they're playing Trae off ball and all that, but he's not doing anything. He's standing around in the corner, and DeJounte's isolating, waiting for just a pick and roll. I don't understand why Trae's not moving without the ball, coming off screens, trying to get open to get his shot going, to get some open looks from threes instead of contested shots. I don't know if that's just coaching, if that's the way that Nate McMillan is running the offense through DeJounte, but I don't like it. It's bad offense. It really is bad offense, and I feel like it's not on DeJounte because it seems like whenever he has the ball, everyone's just standing around, and it's either a pick and roll or an isolation, and that is not winning basketball. That's not going to win. We've seen it several times. It stalls out, and when you just have guys standing around in the corner watching a guy isolate, which the Hawks do often, they do it all the time with Trae as well, it's just not good offense. That's the main thing I wanted to point out. The other thing I wanted to kind of touch on again is Capella. He's so bad offensively. I can't even fathom it. I will not be surprised if Okongwu is the starter by midseason, because he can at least finish around the rim and make a mid-range jump shot. But when Capella gets an offensive rebound, he just throws it back up. He just throws it back up and prays that it goes in. He's so bad offensively, other than on lobs. Now, he did a lot better job defensively this game. He had, I think, 4 blocks in the second half, and JC had 4 blocks in the second half. So they were doing a lot better job in the paint. But overall, Capella is just, again, he's a shell of himself. He doesn't look the same. He looks out of shape, and I think that's something to keep your eye on as the season goes on. Now let's get into my final takeaways for this game. Number 1, Trae, a lot better game offensively. He got to the free throw line. He only had 1 turnover, only 6 assists, but that's okay. It's going to happen. But the biggest thing with that he's still somewhat settling. Now, a lot of y'all Hawks fans may disagree and say, oh, Hezo, that's he's not settling. He's getting the shots that he typically gets. That's fair. He is shooting the same shots he normally does, but it's still a settling shot. Just because he shoots these shots all the time doesn't mean it's not a shot that he's settling on. When you're pulling up for a contested three, it's still settling, regardless if it kills in or not. And I've already mentioned that in the past. He still shot 1 for 7 from 3. Again, I hope this does. I know it's not going to continue the whole season. Trey just needs to find his rhythm, but I'm starting to wonder, is he lacking confidence shooting the deep ball when you know you're struggling? A lot of times when shooters are going through a shooting slump and they continue to let it fly and continue missing, it kind of really hinders their confidence. You're starting to wonder. There's a lot of times throughout this game where Trey thought about taking a shot, but then he was like second guessing it and didn't shoot it. And that's a good thing, but at the same time, is that a confidence thing or is that just him being smart? Gotta start to wonder. Again, it's only 4 games. I look for Trey to eventually get going. He's gonna eventually explode one of these games and shoot 6 for 8 from 3 or 7 for 9 and have a very efficient game. But overall, it was a solid offensive game for Trey, but not great. He still shot 9 for 21 from the field or so. Again, his main bulk of his points came from the free throw line. I like that he was being aggressive. That's great, but he's got to shoot better and he's got to get his 3-ball going. Number 2, the rotation. I touched on this a little bit earlier in the video. I can't believe that AJ Griffin did not get into the game. It really bothers the hell out of me that Nate McMillan stuck with the same exact rotation. Now, you're 3-1. I get it with this rotation. The bench did play better. Again, I've already touched on this, but at some point, you have to make adjustments with this rotation because the bench has been kind of lacking through these first 4 games. Number 3, not a great overall game defensively. I feel like they gave up way too many threes. Isaiah Livers hit like 3 or 4 threes. Sadiq Bey hit a couple threes. Bogdanovich was going crazy, doing whatever he wanted. And that's just bad perimeter defense. The paint defense extremely improved. And that's great to see. John Collins had 4 blocks. Capella had 4 blocks. So that's great to see, but they gotta clean up overall the perimeter defense and just defense in general. When you're giving up over 110 points to a Detroit team coming off a back-to-back, that's bad defense. You know, there's no other way to slice it. That's bad defense. That kind of leads me into my next point, number 4, and it's offensively the 3-ball. Atlanta is not the same team shooting the 3-ball this year. They are in the bottom 5 teams in the league with the 3-ball this year, as after being in the top 3 last year. And I get it. They lost Gallo, lost Herter, 2 of the biggest 3-point shooters that we had last year. But that's why I say AJ Griffin has to get into the game, because this kid stretches the floor. The bench, I don't know how many times I can say it, the bench just does not stretch the floor enough to where you're going to get consistent looks at the 3. Point number 5, I kind of want to talk about the Pistons a little bit. Number 5, I'm looking at Isaiah Stewart, and I'm wondering why he consistently is shooting the 3-ball. Bro, you're not a shooter. What are you doing shooting the 3 in the corner late in the 4th quarter? That is a horrible shot. It's a horrible shot for him. Atlanta, you're going to live with that. I don't care if he makes it or not. You're going to live with it. Kate Cunningham was excellent. Bogdanovich was excellent. Really great pickup for them, especially offensively. I would have really liked to see him go to a contender, but he does help this young Pistons team. He is a vet, and this kid, Jalen Duren, is a stud. He is going to be such he has such a bright future. I think he is one of the best steals of this draft, and he's getting minutes. He's being productive. He's averaging like almost 8 rebounds off the bench in only 22 minutes. This kid reminds me I'm not going to go that far. I'm not even going to say it. He has so much potential, and I think eventually at some point, either this season or next season, later in the season, he is going to be the starting center for this team. I'll pretty much leave it there, man. Couple other scores from around the league. I seen the Bucks and the Nets were in a battle, but I just looked. The Bucks are up, actually, I think 13 right now with about 2.5 minutes left. So that game will be over here by the time I'm done recording this video. Looks like the Nets are going to drop that game, and they're off to a rough start as well. They are now falling, I think, now to 1-3. The Sixers lose again to Toronto. They're now 1-4. These are two championship contenders that are now under 500. I saw the Cavs got a win against the Magic. They're now 3-1. The Timberwolves are beating the Spurs right now. They're on a nice, not a nice bounce back, but on a bounce back game for them. I saw the Knicks and Hornets are in overtime right now after the Hornets were trailing for most of the game. So, I mean, big shout out to them. They're actually playing a lot better than I expected. But again, man, I'm not going to overreact to these scores and these games this early in the season. I was really pissed off last game when we lost to the Hornets. But again, I'm trying not to overreact. It is super, super early, and anything can happen when you're in the first couple weeks of the season. You really can't start judging a team until about, I'd say, like 15, 20 games in. That's when you really see who a team is and what they're going to be for the season. So hopefully we can start to string together these wins. I would really like to see us significantly above 500 by that 15-20 game mark. We got a tough stretch of games coming up here in the future. Y'all will see my recaps for all those. That is pretty much it, man. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. What did y'all think of this game overall? What do y'all think about some of the other games going on around the league? Leave a like on the video, and I will catch y'all next episode.